I must admit that today was a bit difficult to record this video because I felt that I had a lot of sort of anxiety about things that needs to be done. And yes, of course, there's always the next day that you can do these things, but I definitely felt that I didn't have the time to do everything. And especially I noticed that I do put myself down internally when I haven't uploaded a video, when I say I will upload it. And I try to upload them every week. So whenever there's something that is kind of, getting in the way and I'm not able to upload a video, I start to feel a bit anxiety and maybe doubt about everything. Like, should I be doing this? Is anyone even watching these? So there is definitely always we always have this doubt, and we just need to choose to put it aside and not really play into it. So first of all, the video that I was creating last week, I had some ups and downs because I was not quite sure what videos I wanted to post. In the past 6 months, I've definitely had intuitive thoughts or ideas come up to me. And whenever I have an idea, I always write it down and I try to also execute it. And this time I had an idea, which looking back now, maybe it wasn't that bad, but I had an idea that I should make a video about my video diaries. I started to record myself 9 years ago. When I got my first MacBook, I would tell about my days, how I felt whenever I was having challenges. So everything was almost on a daily basis, I would create videos about my life. Honestly, I've been avoiding looking at those videos. And it's because whenever I think about my past version, I kind of want to hug her. I really want to tell her that everything's gonna be okay, to tell her that don't underestimate yourself as much as you do and just trust yourself and trust your value as a person, as a woman. And looking back at the videos, most of them are quite, for me, maybe not for others, but they're quite disturbing. And whenever I do go back to look at them just to kind of reminisce about specific life events or things like this, I feel that I'm kind of taking a step back into a past reality that I had. Because I see my apartment, how it looked before, the person who I was, how I looked before, in an aesthetic sense, but also the way I was presenting myself on a video. And obviously, that was 9 years ago. Of course, I'm a different person. I've changed so many times during these 9 years. But I had this intuitive idea that I needed to create this video based on these diaries. And I had some resistance, I have to admit, because I kind of didn't want to go back and look at the videos, but then I did. And it felt quite good to look at myself and how much I've evolved. But when I started to edit it, I had a different barrier in a way to get past, because it was just so difficult to see myself. And some of the things that I was saying, I was not aligning at all anymore. But also in another sense, I felt that what if I would publish this or post this out for you, you would also see the difference, how much I have grown just in the way you can see that video and just seeing me. Even if you don't know me personally, you would see the difference. And I thought this would be interesting just to kind of understand the reality that I came from, So what kind of self-concept I had back then. And I did actually create this video up until this morning. I was editing the video. I was not able to upload it on Sunday. I'm now filming this video on a Tuesday, which is already a couple of days after my scheduled post. But I had to do some subtitles for the video because mostly I'm speaking Finnish, so a lot of you might not understand what I'm saying. So I wanted to just make it accessible to everyone, and I started to do the subtitles. And I noticed that I already did the subtitles. It took me ages to do, but also at the same time, when I saved it, the subtitles started way too early. So everything was misplaced, nothing was coming out on time, and I had to start to redo it. I had to start all over again, and I felt quite anxious about it. And then I thought, you know what, I just need to make a video. I just need to get my thoughts out, but also just to go forward, not to get stuck in that one challenge that I had with this video, and just be okay with there was a week that I wasn't posting. I have promised myself that during this year 2024, I want to stick by a routine of posting every week, being consistent, developing my editing skills, and just really kind of getting comfortable in learning everything about posting videos, creating them, editing them. I just want to look back and say, I've obviously learned something. So I cannot just let myself be stuck whenever I notice that I have some resistance and maybe a lot of anxiety coming up from that resistance, because I notice that resistance kind of comes out in my chest, and it just feels like there's a lot of inner the self-talk, and then again I push it out and I'm just deciding that I'm gonna do this, whatever happens, because I know that there's something on the other side. But in the beginning, you're doing YouTube, you're just posting everything into this void. You do not know all the greatness that comes out of it with time, but you need to give it time. Actually staying consistent and pushing videos out, even if we're not always in the right mindset or right place. So today, I wanted to create a video to tell you 10 things about myself. Maybe it wasn't the most savvy introduction that I just gave you, but I think that I want you to see that there are challenges, that not everything is always as simple or effortless as it seems to be. Because whenever I look at other YouTubers, I feel like, oh, it's so easy for them. Like they're just, pushing out these videos, they're just doing it every week. They're having a great video, nice edits, everything music. And I'm just like how much time does this really take? Once you start your own YouTube journey, you understand that it really takes a lot of effort. And it also takes a lot of effort to make it into a habit. Like before it becomes this thing that you do it almost unconsciously, it really requires you to do it very consciously. Like you need to decide that I'm gonna do it, even if you're not always feeling like it. What if nobody even watches this video, right? That might be the case. There is a possibility for that. You are just posting into the void for some time, definitely. I cannot say how long it's gonna be because we all have different journeys to get to the other side. Getting into a place where it's not ultimately that terrible, but it actually becomes a more enjoyable experience. First thing that you might have not known about me is that I work in a harbor. I've been working in the harbor for the past 10 years. At some point I was working way more, and it was my full-time job for summer months or just a specific periods of the year. But now I would say that it's more of a hobby. So I go there like once or twice a week. I haven't fully let go of it because it's quite lucrative and it's easy because I already know the job. I couldn't really be bothered now to learn another job just to do on the side of being an artist, because I do not know many artists that can sustainably be only artists in this field, at least in Finland. Another thing that you maybe did not know about me, because I'm not always talking about it that much, but I am Finnish and I live in Finland, in Helsinki. Sometimes I do think about that maybe I should share some content about what it is like living in Finland, because it's quite different. I do see that most of you are from US, so I know that it's so different, and maybe it would be an interesting, take to show you how it's like. But yeah, I'm Finnish. The third thing that I'm not quite sure you're aware of, but my mother is Russian and she came to Finland as an immigrant in, I would say, early 80s. I'm not quite sure about the year though, but definitely she was like one of the first Russians in, like not the first, but like there was a very small group of Russians back then coming or like immigrating into Finland. So she did come with that wave. My stepfather is Finnish. I have 2 siblings. I was born in Finland though. She was born actually in Germany. Then she moved to Russia, and then through there she came here. Definitely a different cultural experience when I was growing up. Maybe you didn't know this about me, but I do have a partner, and we've been together for maybe 4 or 5 years now. I don't really count anymore, and we're not that big in like celebrating the anniversary. We're just celebrating every day. Something you maybe didn't know about me was that this apartment that I'm living in now, I moved here in 2008. So I've been living here over 10 years. Now it's been like 15. That's insane. I've been living here for 15 years and I can't really grasp my mind around it. I did live in Netherlands at some point because I was studying there. I went there early 2017 to study at KBK. I have actually a video about studying in Holland. I lived there for 2.5 years, so I was renting out this apartment. What else? One thing that you definitely didn't know about me was that before I started studying photography, I actually got an education as a personal trainer. I was crazy about sports. Like I was directing different classes, like kettlebell classes, spinning classes also. And this was when I was like 24 or something. And this was just before I started to work in the harbor. So I wanted to kind of have this plan B, that if I don't get into studying photography, I would have another kind of plan to fall back on, which now looking back, that was the exact reason I was not pushing myself enough, because I believed that there was was another path for me. So I didn't put everything fully into this one decision that I just wanted to go for. But because I was a bit like fearful and scared about what if I fail, I then acquired this personal training education. But I'm not into that anymore in that sense. I do work out still like 3-4 times a week. I'm really grateful for the knowledge that I have, but I feel that it's not something that I'm passionate about. I can be interested in moving my body, being active. I do not intensely research or follow workout plans or just like how could I change my workout routine every 4 to 6 weeks or something. So I'm just like going and enjoying being able to move my body. What else? One thing you didn't know about me is that I love country music. And my first ever big gig or big show, my first huge music performance that I saw was by Dixie Chicks, because my sister and her husband, they lived in Canada, in Calgary, and they had tickets to go there and they didn't listen to Dixie Chicks. So I actually got the tickets and we went with my mom, and it was the best experience ever, because first of all, music events are so different abroad than in Finland. I feel that in Finland people are way too conscious about whether to dance or move their body. So I don't feel like it's really this freeing experience where you really just there for the music and just for the shared experience with others. They did change the name from Dixie Chicks to something else, I think, like just the Chicks. And the last but not the least, definitely, I was bullied when I was in kindergarten, first of all, then when I got on the first and second class, and then also maybe when I was on the like 5th and 6th, and on the 7th grade, I got so pissed about being bullied, so I just turned 180 and I just started to be very angst teenager who sort of hated the world. Everything was working against me and I didn't have any opportunities for anything, and like external events and happenings and people always had something to do with why I wasn't succeeding or going forward or being able to learn something. I think I like had gathered this huge amount of hate towards the world, and I was not even wanting to do any self-reflection or just understand that I was actually, I was the problem. It was me. Looking back now, it really took me some years to really realize this, take matters into my own hand and just not only talk about it, but actually be about it. You know, I was talking, but I was not doing anything. And I had a lot of blockages. And only when I sort of grew up, I would say even closer to my 30s, I started to realize that I can change and I will change and I'm able to change. Looking back now, that being bullied, it really changed me to my core. Because I was bullied, I feel like my self-esteem went from this to here. So I was below everything. That is also a reason I think why it took me almost like more than 15 years to get to the point where I was, where I understood that I can take responsibility for what I was feeling. People just speaking down on you really changes you as a person, and it is something that we carry on with ourselves throughout our lives. You know, I look at myself, like the pictures of myself, and I see myself as someone who was just very unexperienced about life, not aware of all the things that I could do to work on myself, to love myself also, just everything that I've done afterwards. I cannot feel shame about it. I cannot feel guilt. I can only feel like this warm feeling towards my past self and just know that I did a lot of self-improvement afterwards. That is definitely something I'm grateful for. Couldn't be more proud of myself being able to let go of that trauma in a way. Okay, so that was a lot of stuff, and I hope you maybe got something out of it. Maybe there's some things that you can relate to, and I'll see you next week.